Technology, in its many different forms, can be a very useful educational tool for children. So I'm going to talk to you today about technology for learning at home and at school. So first, we're going to discuss how we can use iPads as an educational tool. iPads have a number of useful programs and functions when working with children. Some of these include dictation, screen reader, reader view, predictive text, and plenty of other useful apps. First, we're going to talk about dictation. So, dictation is a useful tool that allows you to talk to your iPad, and whatever you say will be copied into text. This is useful for people who struggle with spelling, handwriting. It may be messy, they may have difficulty with letter formation or with speed. Typing, again, it might be about timing or inaccuracy. And taking lots of notes quickly can also be a challenge. Dictation takes away the time challenge. To enable dictation, first go to your iPad settings and click on General, which is highlighted in this first image. From there, click on Keyboard, and then finally, click Enable Dictation. To access dictation, open the keyboard in any app and click on the microphone icon. Dictate to the iPad and it will write up whatever you say. And you must also be connected to the internet to use this function. So there are plenty of ways that you can use dictation in the classroom. For example, you could have the child dictate a statement to the iPad and then type or handwrite the statement using the dictated version as a spelling guide, so it can be a way to actually learn to spell words better. You can use the iPad to practice clear speech. You have to consider that dictation isn't always going to be appropriate, as if a child can't speak clearly enough, the iPad won't understand what they're saying. But for many, it could be an opportunity to practice clear speech, and they know that if the iPad understands their words, they've spoken clearly. You can also use the iPad to take long notes or write messages to friends and family. This can mean that children who take a long time to write notes in class are going to be left behind. Next, we're going to have a look at Screen Reader. So Screen Reader reads out the text already written on a screen audibly for a child to listen to. So this is good for children having difficulty with pronouncing words, reading large bodies of text quickly, reading speed and ability, and visual impairments. So to enable your screen reader, first go to your settings, the same as you did to enable dictation, and click on General. From here, click on Accessibility. Click on Speech, and then you can click on Speak Selection and Speak Screen. These are two separate options, and I'll discuss them separately now. So Speak Screen allows you to read the entire screen without selecting a specific portion of it. So to activate Speak Screen, scroll down from the top of the screen with 2 fingers and it will read the whole screen. A bubble, as shown in the left image, will pop up. This allows you to pause, fast forward, rewind, and then the turtle and the rabbit will slow down or speed up the speed at which the voice reads the text on the screen as well. If you want to hide that bubble, you can click on the back arrow that's highlighted in the first image. Speak Selection allows you to only read out a small portion of the screen. So to do this, you need to hold a finger over the text that you want to highlight, drag the blue lines to fill the amount of text that you want to read aloud, and then click on Speak. And then the iPad will read just that portion of text out loud. So there are plenty of ways you can use Screen Reader in the classroom as well. So children can use Screen Reader to hear how words are pronounced and then practice pronouncing them the same way. This helps with developing their reading skills. Children can also use the Screen Reader to hear large amounts of text read out quickly as a time-saving tool. The highlight function shows them what word is being read at any time, so they can link the sound being spoken with the word. This helps with developing reading skills. Children with visual impairments are also empowered to read things on the iPad using the Screen Reader function, as they may not be able to read them themselves. Let's look at Reader View. So Reader View allows you to minimize distractions on the page by showing only the essential text. This gets rid of any ads, any logos, any unnecessary pictures, and simplifies the overall screen image. So this is useful for children who have difficulty with distractions, coping with too much visual input, and mild visual impairments as well. So to activate Reader View, it's important to note that Reader View is not available on all web pages, but it is only available online. To use Reader View, when it is available, you'll notice an icon on the top left-hand corner of the screen, which is 4 short lines. If you press this, the icon will turn black, and the page will change, as you can see in the 2 images on the screen. So all of the images will go away, text is simplified and made larger. So next we're going to discuss different keyboard functions. So, keyboard functions can be used to ensure that children are using the correct spelling in their writing. Predictive text lists the words that the iPad thinks the child is planning to use after the first few letters of the word is typed. And if the child elects to click on one of the words that shows up, the iPad will complete the word for them. Autocorrection changes a word that's been misspelled to the correct spelling of that word. Check spelling highlights a word that's been incorrectly spelled in red. If the child clicks on the word, the iPad will recommend alternative spellings. To enable keyboard functions, follow similar steps to enabling dictation and screen reader. First, click on General. From here, click on Keyboard, and then select the functions that you would like to enable. The 3 we've discussed are autocorrection, check spelling, and predictive. Parent and teacher controls. There are many ways that you can restrict function on the iPad to make sure that a child is using the iPad for learning and not just for playing games. The parent and teacher controls allow the parents and teachers to control, set a passcode to access certain apps, prevent the child from exiting an app or using certain functions, and set a time at which the iPad will lock itself. So to enable restrictions to specific apps, select General, go to Restrictions, and select Enable Restrictions as shown in the images on the screen. This allows you to select apps you would like restricted and set a passcode that must be entered to access the app. This is useful if you want a child to use an app for study or learning and not be distracted by apps, or if you feel an app you have on your own iPad is inappropriate for your child to access. Guided access allows you to lock the iPad on one specific app. This means that the child can't leave the app and change to another program. This is useful if you want a child to focus on a specific app for study or learning, or if they're easily distracted. To access this, click on General again, click Accessibility, and select Guided Access. To activate guided access in a chosen app, triple-click the Home button. The iPad will then give you the option to highlight parts of the screen you want deactivated. For example, you might highlight the search bar on a web page and the child can't search for anything new. The play-stop timer locks the iPad once the allocated time that you have set for them to use the iPad is complete. This is good if you want to allow a child to play a game for a limited time. To activate, select the clock icon. Select Timer in the bottom right-hand corner. From here, select When Time Stops and select Stop Playing. When the timer runs out, the iPad will lock. Now let's talk about how we can use the keyboard for education and learning. Typing skills, which are essential to life at this point, can be improved through a number of ways. These include typing games, which helps to encourage a child to learn typing skills in a fun way. Lowercase keyboards, as children are often more familiar with lowercase letters, and this helps them to develop their typing skills more quickly. And then, essentially, regular practice. So let's discuss some of the typing games that you might use. Keyboard Climber is a good typing game that encourages the child to learn where the letters are located. As the child is timed, they have to quickly locate the letter and press the letter to allow the monkey character to skip from rock to rock. And if the child takes too long, then the monkey will fall off the rock when a coconut falls on its head. So this game teaches the child which side of the keyboard each letter is located, and it's a bit more fun than just typing words. Keyboard Zoo is a much simpler game. which through repetition will just have the child type letters over and over to help them remember where the letter is located. And then the letters are associated with an animal to help create a link. Keyboard Ninja is similar to Keyboard Climber in that it's a game working on a time limit where the child has to type the letters that pop up into the sky attached to a piece of fruit. If the child takes too long, then they lose points, so there's an element of challenge to it. And it can also be graded, so it can start out quite simple with letters only from one row and going more slowly. And then as the child improves, the game can be made much more difficult. Finally, Typing Club is a very good program which has graduated levels, learning about typing different letters at different speeds. And as the child improves, then the Typing Club becomes more and more complex until they're typing quite well. So there are many ways we can adapt keyboards to promote a child learning how to type. So some of these include lowercase keyboards. As I mentioned earlier, younger children are often more familiar with lowercase letters, so it can be a lot easier for them to learn to type on a lowercase keyboard, as they just don't know what to do when they're approached with a screen full of uppercase letters. Some keyboards come preset with lowercase letters, adapted keyboards, or you can get a skin that you can put over the top of a keyboard that will make the letters appear lowercase. Color-coded letters. This could be color-coded based on the hand that you use to type the letter, or also based on the function of the key. So numbers might be a different color to letters, and vowels might be a different color to consonants. You can also do a skin that blocks distractions. So if you look at the image in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see all of the keys that aren't essential to most childhood typing have been blacked out, so they don't have to think about them. And then the letters are shown in lowercase to simplify things. So as you can see, there are a huge number of ways that we can use technology, such as computers and iPads, to help educate children, help to teach them typing skills, reading skills, writing skills, and also help them just to keep up with other classmates if they're having difficulties in any of those areas. So thank you for listening.